We've got a new First Minister as of sometime this afternoon, I think, but the SNP is not out of the woods yet, and in fact some people think the election of Humza is going to lead to Labour winning back some seats.
I think that's not an unreasonable proposition. We knew that the SNP were divided going into this, and that was only 6 weeks ago that the contest started. And the results have borne it out. It was 52% for Humza and 48% for his main challenger, Kate Forbes.
Yeah.
And Kate Forbes, for anyone who doesn't know, Kate Forbes was very much the outsider. Humza was the favoured candidate of the SNP establishment to an almost ridiculous degree. He was given all the machinery of the SNP machine, which is quite formidable. He had the assistance of Nicola Sturgeon's chief advisor, one or two other people working away in the background, and the support of the vast majority of the SNP's professional wing. By that I mean their elected MSPs at Holyrood and their elected MPs at Westminster. And there was a massive onslaught at the beginning of the contest targeting Kate Forbes and orchestrated from the SNP central office. Right. And she still won 48% of the votes. So this is a party that is almost ruinously divided, and that eclipses a lot of the divisions that we've seen over the last 2 decades in the Conservative Party and the Labour Party.
And interestingly enough, I think one of your colleagues up there retweeted rather, an SNP tweet, which was retweeted by them, saying that there was a great sense of relief that Humza Yousaf had won. And it was like, well, it doesn't sound like a very sort of together party, a very united party, if that's what they're going to be saying.
Well, I think there is definitely a great degree of relief amongst the SNP establishment, because both Kate Forbes and the third contestant in the leadership race, Ash Regan, had made it clear from the outset that there would have to be a clear out of the dozens of advisors, the party fluffers, the kind of the ridiculous number of MPs and MSPs they have who haven't done anything about independence and haven't contributed much to the national conversation. So they're all cheering because their jobs are safe and their gold-plated pensions and their expenses and their big salaries for another few years under Humza. And in that, it reveals the massive disconnect that has opened up over the last few years between this professional, entitled class within the SNP and the wider pro-independence movement.
Right. And so just in the short term, he's calling for another independence referendum. He's calling, as he did before, for the end of the monarchy. He doesn't want the king anymore, apparently. He said previously that might happen within 5 years of independence. He's also vowing to carry on with the trans rights agenda pushed by Nicola Sturgeon, which was what got her into trouble in the first place.
Yeah, he's very quickly... At the beginning of the contest, he was dismissed as the continuity candidate. Yeah. And in the course of the 6 weeks, he seemed to have moved away from that and saying, no, I agree, there has to be change because we haven't really achieved very much in our 8 years in power. But within a few hours, as you just pointed out, he's gone for a Section 30 order, which is the order by which the Westminster government would grant a second referendum. But we all knew how that would end. Why would they do that? He has said that he will go for a Section 35, which is the UK government had intervened to block Scotland's GRR bill, Gender Recognition Reform Bill, because it was against various aspects of the 2010 Equality Bill. And the legal advice, as far as we know, and this was pointed out by the other two candidates, is that they would fail.
Yeah.
And Humza had said, yeah, well, just a few weeks ago, he'd said, well, subject to legal advice, we will challenge that. But he seems to have ignored that unless he's somehow managed to get legal advice in the last few hours. So nothing really changed. And this kind of appeals to the core of those people I was talking about. It's flag waving, it's virtue signalling. But it also signals that nothing much will change, and there's no recognition or acknowledgement of the troubles that got the SNP into this ruinous state in the first place.